Let's be honest, there's just something about Antiques Roadshow, isn't there? It's more than just a TV show. It's a weekly ritual of hope. We watch as ordinary people, clutching dusty paintings, forgotten jewelry, and strange little trinkets from the attic, line up for a chance to hear those magic words. Are you aware of what you have here? We dream of finding our own hidden treasure. But the real magic, the thing that keeps us coming back season after season, isn't just the price tags. It's the stories. It's the gasp from the owner, the sudden connection to a long-lost relative, the moment a simple, everyday object is revealed to be a gateway to history. Most of the time, the experts who line the tables are the definition of professional calm. They've seen it all. Napoleonic furniture, Roman coins, garish pottery from the 70s. They handle each one with a polite, academic curiosity. It takes a lot to truly rattle them. Which is why, on a recent episode, when one specialist's voice wavered and he confessed, "My knees were shaking," the entire audience, both at the event and at home, leaned in. This wasn't just another item. This was something special. The expert, Mark, an aficionado of scientific instruments, spotted it before it even reached his table. It wasn't the item itself, but its container. A simple, unassuming box. To you or me, it might have looked like any other antique case, but to him it was a signal, a promise. When I saw this box coming down the queue, Mark confessed later, a look of genuine awe still on his face, I was sitting down, but my knees started to shake, because I know what's in this box. Imagine that feeling. The slow-motion moment as the guest, unaware, gets closer and closer. The professional mask you have to keep on while, inside, your heart is doing cartwheels. When the box was finally placed before him and the lid was opened, a soft, "oh my," escaped his lips. He took a moment, visibly composing himself, before looking at the guest. "What a beauty," he marveled, his hands hovering over the object, almost afraid to touch it. Inside, nestled in aged velvet, was a stunning, intricate brass microscope. It wasn't just a functional tool. It was a work of art gleaming under the production lights, a perfect relic of Victorian science and craftsmanship. But as always, the object is only half the story. The real story was sitting right across from him. The guest explained that it was a family treasure. It wasn't something she'd picked up at a car boot sale. It had been passed down to her. "It's older than I thought it was," she admitted. "It was my grandparents, and they left it to me." She shared that the microscope had been in her grandparents' home for longer than her own mother had been alive, a silent, beautiful object on a shelf. But as for its specific history, she shrugged. "I don't really know the story behind it." This is where the magic truly began. Mark's eyes lit up. This was his passion. He wasn't just valuing an item. He was about to give this woman back a piece of her family's history. He tenderly described how the microscope was created, how its lenses were ground, how its brass was lathed. "It's a wonderful instrument," he said, the emotion clear in his voice. "It really makes my heart skip a beat." Then he looked at her, a knowing glint in his eye. He'd learned a little about her before the cameras rolled. "You work in a laboratory, don't you?" he asked. The guest confirmed she did, and in that moment the story snapped into beautiful, perfect focus. This wasn't just a random heirloom. This was her legacy. This microscope was the 19th century ancestor of the very work she does every single day. The thread of scientific curiosity had been woven through her family for generations, landing, perhaps completely by chance, with her. "Have you ever tried using it?" Mark asked, almost like a hopeful child. The guest let out a relatable, nervous laugh. "I have not," she confessed. "I've been a big chicken, afraid to do any damage to it." And isn't that a feeling we all know? That paralyzing fear of breaking a link to the past. It's one thing to use a $50,000 piece of modern equipment at work. It's another thing entirely to handle the one irreplaceable thing your grandparents cherished, she admitted. "But I do use a microscope at least once a month at work. Maybe I will give it a whirl." Mark beamed, encouraging her to connect with her own history, to literally see the world through her ancestors' eyes. Finally, it came time for the part of the show everyone waits for, the valuation. "This is a bit of a living room decoration," Mark said, summarizing its current life. "It's a curio in your house, but it's wonderfully connected to your career. He paused. You could see the guest holding her breath, likely expecting a few £100 at most. It's also £1,200 to £1,800, he revealed. That's roughly $1,400 to $2,000. The guest's eyes,